Hi dear fans, friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. Well, this Cricket Happenings show is going to start on a very sad note today with the passing of a very wonderful pace bowler from Australia. His name was Gary Gilmour. So Gary Gilmour passed away at the age of 62. As you know, Gary Gilmour was there in the 1970s. He was a left-arm fast bowler, a swing bowler. He was there in the days of Jeff Thomson and Dennis Lillee. And well, if you look at Gary Gilmour's record, now many people who are not born at that time wouldn't know about Gary Gilmour. So it gives me, I would like to share something about Gary Gilmour. As I said, Gary Gilmour was a player who was a left-arm fast bowler. He played in the mold of an all-rounder. And if you look, he made his debut in the 1970s. Well, if you look at it, if you look at the record, you would be really wondering why he was a wonderful bowler. But if you look at it, he just played 15 tests for Australia in all. But one thing that really I was also, I might also be probably pretty young at that time, but Gary Gilmour, I heard about Gary Gilmour. I also seen a lot of video clippings of Gary Gilmour during my younger days, maybe not live but probably recordings. But I've seen that Gary Gilmour was really a pretty quick bowler, and he was combining admirably in the 1970s when pace was really dominating. As you know, West Indies and Australia were the ones. They had a barrage of pace bowlers, and they had Jeff Thomson, they had Dennis Lillee, they had Gary Gilmour. In fact, Dennis Lillee probably came a bit late, but Jeff Thomson was definitely there. They had Max Walker, I remember. So Gary Gilmour, as I said, if you look at it, you will feel surprised. But in those days, one would remember, dear fans, friends and subscribers, we didn't have lots of test matches like how we have test matches now, because basically cricket has become very commercial nowadays, and a lot of cricket is being played, test matches, one-day international, T20s. But in those days, in 1970s, we didn't have a lot of test matches. There were not much exchanges between all the cricket countries. So the tests were very few, so that's the precise reason. But even at that particular, even though if you see the 15 tests that Gary Gilmour played were pretty few, I would say. But as I said, the reason that I'm talking about Gary Gilmour, yes, he definitely finished his he finished his career at the age of 25. And the one thing that really comes to mind when one talks about Gary Gilmour is the 1975 World Cup semi-final, which was being played between Australia and England, arch rivals, and a phenomenal thing was done by Gary Gilmour, the left-arm swing bowler, and that was the effort which actually had him going into the Wisden cricket records in 2002. And that would have been, that was a very fitting tribute to Gary Gilmour, the left-arm pace bowler. Now, in the World Cup 1975 against England, he had a winning effort at Headingley in Leeds, where Gary Gilmour had a bowling figures of 6 wickets for 14 runs. Tremendous bowling figures against England. And look at the scalp that he had. Anyone who knows about these players would really know what prize scalps they were of the English cricket players. One, Dennis Amiss, the opener from England. Then he had the wicket of Wood, who was Amiss was LBW bowled Gilmour for 2. Wood was bowled by Gilmour for 6. And then the late Tony Greig, who was caught beautifully. It was a wonderful catch where Jeff Marsh was really flying in the air, and he picked up a catch into the slips as he caught, Greig was caught Marsh, bowled Gilmour for 7. Then had Frank Hayes, LBW bowled Gilmour for 4. Keith Fletcher was sent back to the pavilion, LBW bowled Gilmour for 8. and one of those wonderful wicket keepers from England, Alan Knott, was castled by Gilmour for a duck. So that is the damage that he created, and his nickname was Gus, and that was what he did. And at the age of probably 23 years, I suppose, not 23 years actually, he was much younger at that particular time, probably it was in his early 20s, and he took 6 wickets for 14 runs. And this particular record of 6 wickets for 14 runs was a world record, and this world record stayed for a long time. Probably I think it was this particular record was broken in the 1983 World Cup, which once again happened in England, and one would remember that the 1983 World Cup was won by India by beating West Indies, and that West Indian in a preliminary match, Winston Davis, a tall and a very fast bowler, actually broke this record of Gary Gilmour, but it took 8 years for this particular record of Gary Gilmour, 6 wickets for 14 runs, to be grinded into the dust, as Winston Davis, in a match against Australia, took 7 wickets for 51 runs in that World Cup 1983, and soon the 2003 World Cup, that record was broken by the Australian. Once again, the Australia holds the record as far as the most number of wickets are concerned, and this particular record once again stands in an Australian name. It is the retired Glenn McGrath, who took 7 wickets for 15 runs in the 2003 World Cup. Now this is as far as Gary Gilmour in World Cup is concerned. Now Gary Gilmour in a particular match, in fact Gary Gilmour in this short span of as I said, he only played 15 test matches. He played and also one more thing that I would like to talk about is in the World Cup 1975, as you know, Gary Gilmour took 5 wickets for 48 runs in the World Cup finals in 1975 against the West Indies. He took 5 wickets for 48 runs. And as far as test matches were concerned, Gary Gilmour played 15 tests, which got him 54 wickets. So that really gives you like what is the average wickets that he was taking per test, right? It's over 3 wickets. We are seeing that, right? So 15 wickets in 15 tests, he got 54 scalps, and he also scored in those 15 test matches. He got a century, which was really blasted. New Zealand, they were playing against New Zealand. This was played in Christchurch in 1977, where Richard Hadlee was the one who was actually leading the New Zealand pace attack. And as you know, Richard Hadlee in those days was the linchpin for New Zealand. And Richard Hadlee, it didn't matter. Reputations really didn't matter for Gary Gilmour, as Gary Gilmour went on to blast the New Zealand bowling to all parts of the field to collect his first test century, and out of that he made 101 runs, and out of that he hit 24s and a 6 in that particular game. So as I said, even though if you look at it, you know, Gary Gilmour played only 15 test matches, and as I said, the one thing that comes to mind is his World Cup achievement in 1975. That was really very pleasurable when he did that. And so these are some things that I wanted to really talk about, but unfortunately, as I said, at the age of 62, Gary Gilmour has passed away. He was undergoing a life-saving liver transplant in 2005. He had lots of health problems, and finally, when he was passing away, it was a hip operation which was done for him, but well, the hip operation went wrong, and it was all over for him, as Gary Gilmour finally breathed his last at the age of 62. So my condolences to Gary Gilmour's family members on this particular cricket show. Well, dear fans and subscribers, so after starting on a very sad note in international cricket, this day on 10th of June 2014. I will shift the focus now to the third day's play, which has just begun here between New Zealand and West Indies, where I see that West Indies have just got two more runs added to their overnight score, and the man in the middle is the homegrown hero of the West Indies, who is also playing his 100th Test match, and this is none other than Chris Gayle that I'm talking about. He is not out on 8 right now. Kieron Powell is not out on 13 with 2 boundaries. This is in reply to New Zealand making 508 for 7 declared yesterday, as you would have all heard about my cricket update yesterday. And when I left you, one knows that Jimmy Neesham and BJ Watling were really frustrating this West Indies bowling to such a great extent. And look at that partnership, a monumental, a mammoth partnership, which was played at 279 for 5. They recovered to 480, and it was a shame that they couldn't get onto a double century partnership. In fact, I'm sorry, they had a 201 run partnership for the 6th wicket, and that was what enabled the New Zealand captain to declare the innings close as 508 for 7. Jimmy Neesham becoming the 9th player in the annals of Test history to score 2 consecutive centuries after making his Test debut. The first century came against India, the second century against West Indies. He walked out after making 107 runs with 11 fours and 2 sixes, and he really looks a real player for the future. And any player who makes 2 centuries on the trot after making his Test debut, one has to definitely say that this player is going to be the future for the New Zealand. And why not? He's an all-rounder in the making. BJ Watling unfortunately missed his century, but he played his part well that he normally does, as he's a really good grafter of the ball, and he contributed 89 valuable runs with 7 fours and 1 six. And as I said, this was the partnership which enabled New Zealand to declare the innings close at 508 for 7. Tim Southee was remained not out on 21 with 7 balls, paying a real cameo knock there of just 7 deliveries by hitting 1 4 and 2 sixes. He went after Shane Shillingford in a big way. So 508 for 7 declared. The bowling figures: Jerome Taylor 26 overs 11 maidens, 1 for 37. Kemar Roach 29 overs 6 maidens, none for 85, bowled superbly. I thought Jerome Taylor and Kemar Roach, both on their comebacks, I thought they did a wonderful job for the West Indies. Darren Bravo just bowled a solitary over for 2 runs. Suleiman Ben toiled hard on a docile pitch, 52 overs 14 maidens, 142 runs and 3 wickets. Shane Shillingford, his spinning partner, 46.3 overs 7 maidens, 145 runs and 3 wickets. Samuels 15 overs 1 maiden, none for 55. Chris Gayle bowling 5 overs for 17 runs. Well, I'm going to take you live to the Sabina Park, Kingston in Jamaica. Before I leave this cricket happening show, I'm going to give you a live cricket update here. And the live cricket update says that West Indies currently have just started the day here on the 3rd day, have moved their score to 23 for no loss. They had 19 for no loss yesterday. Kieron Powell was dropped early. Whether that is going to prove costly, one does not know. He's currently not out on 14 with 2 boundaries. Chris Gayle is playing his part. Now, as I said, all the eyes today on the 3rd day's play is on only one person here in Kingston in Jamaica, and that would be, the eyes would be trained on Chris Gayle, who is right now not out on 9 with 1 boundary. Well, he's taking his time at the crease. Can you believe this? Chris Gayle is not out on 9, having faced 47 deliveries. So that is something, because Chris Gayle is normally a very attacking player. We know that he has changed his game nowadays. He's become more mature, more responsible. But, well, taking 9 runs only of 47 balls on his home ground, playing his 100th Test, that really tells you something, dear fans, friends and subscribers. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Gayle, in the first innings itself, goes on to score a century in his 100th Test. I wish him good luck. Really pleased to see Chris Gayle do that. He has gone through a lot of things in his cricketing career, and with his differences that he had with the West Indies Cricket Board, I think Chris Gayle is raring to go today. It looks like he's really determined. He's showing absolute application and application towards the game here, and I'm sure I think this Kingston, the Sabina Park, Kingston in Jamaica fans, all the home fans who have gathered here to watch Chris Gayle in action should not be going disappointed. I only wish and pray that Chris Gayle goes on to score a century in the first innings itself on his 100th test. Wish you good luck, Chris Gayle. So Chris Gayle, I see right now he gets 2 runs and he has taken his score on to 9. But it looks like there is a steely determination in the eyes of Chris Gayle today. Well, let's have a look at the bowling figures as of now. 8 overs, 3 maidens, 15 runs and no wicket for 10 bowled. Tim Southee, 6.1 over, 4 maidens, 8 runs and no wicket, absolutely on the money. Mark Craig has bowled his first over on his test debut, and that was a maiden. I reckon it was bowled yesterday, but I'm just going to look at my cricket records to see whether this over was bowled yesterday. But Mark Craig, as you know, is a right-arm off spinner. He's making his debut in this particular game against the West Indies. He's a right-arm off spinner. He's 27 years of age. And well, let me now. I'm just going to leave you, dear fans and subscribers. Probably after this over, I do see that it is. It's right now. I see Tim Southee is the bowler, and there's 15.4 overs have gone, and West Indies are 23 for no loss. But for West Indies, they have a great task on hand. The first thing that they would be eyeing would be the target of 308 to avoid a follow-on. And Chris Gayle, as I said, having steely determination in his eyes today, and one only, as I said, I can't stop repeating this, that I want Chris Gayle today to score a century in his 100th Test match. In comes Tim Southee, bowls to Chris Gayle. Chris Gayle gets a ball angling across him, a bit outside the off stump, and Chris Gayle lets it harmlessly past him, and wicketkeeper Brendan McCullum, BJ Watling takes it behind the stumps. So the final delivery is coming up. So after this, dear fans and subscribers, your host Ram will be leaving this cricket show as Tim Southee comes in, passes umpire, bowls to Gayle, and Gayle has to be content at the crease as he pushes the ball back to the bowler, and that's the end of the over as far as this over is concerned. West Indies 23 for no loss. Well, dear fans and subscribers, as I said, the first goal for West Indies would be to get to the follow-on target of 308, because New Zealand have put up a massive total on the board here, and as I said, one only is just waiting for West Indies to really come up with a very firm reply here. Well, dear fans and subscribers, that really winds up my cricket show for today. But don't despair, dear fans and subscribers. Tomorrow your host Ram will be there, even though I'm not able to really cover the whole match, because as I said, I have lots of office commitments. I have my other chores to do too. So as I said, cricket is always like a passion for me, unless and until it becomes cricket becomes a paid profession for me. I wouldn't be able to do anything full time. As you all, dear friends and subscribers, you all understand and know, you are a tremendous bunch of guys who have a great understanding with me on this Cricket Happening show. Well, your support, as I said, always has been tremendous. It really invigorates me to do this Cricket Happening show in a big way. So, well, dear fans and subscribers, on this note, telling you that right now I see West Indies are 23 for no loss in reply to New Zealand's 508 for 7 declared on the third day of the first Test match of the series, played here at Sabina Park, Kingston, Jamaica, in the West Indies. I'm going to wind it up, but as I said, I will be back with the third day's report tomorrow, probably a summary of the third day's play when I actually come up from my Cricket Happening show today. So as you know, as long as host Ram is there on this Cricket Happening show, you're not going to be having any depth of cricket information. Your host Ram is always there to share the cricket information. But also remember one thing, dear fans and subscribers, there won't be a single match that would be left out. Each and everything, even if I'm not able to cover on this particular day, Please look at my next Cricket Happening show and you will see me talking about that, at least not in detail, but definitely in a brief way. Well, dear fans and subscribers, once again, thank you for your tremendous support. Your host Ram is about to wind up the Cricket Happening show for today, but promising you that you will be seeing your host Ram on the next Cricket Happening show, that is on Wednesday. Until then, it's goodbye on this Cricket Happening show.